Have you ever thought of money as a goal or as a result? In truth, money is merely the effect of the spiritual energy you emit. Every thought, every emotion, every action acts as a valve regulating the flow of prosperity. This video will guide you into the deeper understanding of how to transform money into a continuous stream of energy, where giving and receiving merge in a frequency of certainty, where consciousness itself generates every financial reality from the subconscious, from gratitude, from creative service. You will learn how to become a channel of divine circulation, where every dollar reflects your true value, where crisis is alchemized into opportunity, and where wealth is no longer just material, but a living energy that never runs dry, opening money as living energy, a spiritual map to direct the flow through rhythm, frequency, and direction in exact response to conscious vibration. Money is not a lifeless string of numbers in a bank statement, nor is it a stack of cold, indifferent bills tucked inside your wallet. It is a living stream, breathing, moving, responding constantly to the vibration of your consciousness. Anyone who regards money as a mere external object, inert and unfeeling, has already forfeited the key to prosperity. For money is not merely a medium of exchange, but a living mirror reflecting your every belief, emotion, and thought. When you observe abundance or scarcity in your life, you are not witnessing a random outcome. You are reading a spiritual map where every movement of money traces the contours of your inner landscape. Money moves according to rhythm, frequency, and direction. It is like a river never still, always flowing, always seeking open channels. A fearful, anxious, or closed mind is like a dam built against the current, blocking the stream from entering. An open, grateful, confident mind is like a thirsty field, inviting the river to pour in. So the question is never where is the money, but rather what frequency am I broadcasting? The universe forgets no one, but it is always exact. It responds only to the vibration you emit. If scarcity lives within, lack will show without. If abundance lives within, circulation will follow. This law is certain, and it allows no exception. Those who have experienced transformation understand. Money did not change because they worked harder. It changed because they changed the way they think, the way they feel, the way they vibrate. A person may be in the same job, in the same environment, yet when their mindset shifts, when they see money not as stiff matter but as living flow, their financial reality transforms accordingly. Money obeys consciousness as metal obeys a magnetic field. It is faithful, it is obedient, and it has no will of its own. You are the one who draws the map. You choose the frequency. You determine the direction of flow. See yourself as the one holding the compass, and money as the metal needle, always aligning to the magnetic current you generate. When you feel genuine gratitude for even a small amount, you send a signal that you are ready to receive more, and the stream responds by widening. When you reject or belittle what you have, you unwittingly send a closing signal, and the stream contracts accordingly. Some wonder why they work so hard and still feel lack. It is because they are acting from a frequency of fear, from a thought that says, if I don't try harder, I'll lose everything. That fear is the very command that blocks the flow. Money does not respond to effort, it responds to the frequency beneath the effort. Conversely, there are those who may not strain or toil, yet money flows to them like a generous river because they act from abundance, from the inner certainty that life supports them. That frequency draws wealth to them continuously and naturally. The spiritual map of money is not found outside. It is etched into the patterns you sow in your subconscious. Every thought, every emotion, every belief is a waterway directing the stream. If you sow images of overflowing rivers, your subconscious opens the channels. If you sow images of drought, your subconscious builds walls that block the flow. Therefore, what you think and feel about money matters more than anything you do with it. Imagine that each morning, as you awaken, you feel money flowing through you like breath, like heartbeat, like oxygen. Even before you look at your wallet or your bank account, you sense a living current within. Hold that feeling as you step into the day, and you will see that money finds its way to those who maintain the flow, open within themselves. You do not need to chase it, plead for it, or compete over it. You only need to harmonize with the rhythm of life, with the frequency of abundance, with the direction of circulation. Then money will come, it will stay, and it will move through you with grace. What matters most is not where you stand today on your financial path, but how you are vibrating. Because the moment you shift your vibration, the map changes, the river bends, and life transforms. Money never stands still. It is always looking for a place to flow. Let your mind become fertile, ground open, grateful and trusting. Then you will witness money not merely as a tool, but as a living testimony to a spiritual law. As within, so without. And this is the first truth. You must remember that money is living energy. It listens to the voice of your consciousness. It responds precisely to the frequency of your soul, the vibrational nature of money. Everything vibrates. And money is the visible expression of the invisible state. Your bank account reflects your beliefs. And the 21-night visualization of golden light. Have you ever wondered why the same sum of money, when held by one person, seems to multiply effortlessly, while in the hands of another it slips away like sand through the fingers? The answer lies in the vibrational nature of money. Everything in the universe vibrates, from the smallest grain of sand to the vastest planets, from the rhythm of your heart to the passing thoughts in your mind. Money is no exception. It is the visible expression of an invisible state. When you look at the balance in your bank account, you are not merely seeing numbers. You are witnessing the reflection of a frequency emanating from within you. One who sows seeds of lack will see depletion reflected in their finances. One who stands in an inner state of abundance will watch their account expand. This is no illusion. It is a universal law, as precise and unwavering as gravity. Imagine your body as a broadcasting station. Every thought and emotion you hold sends out a signal. The universe is like a vast ocean, constantly responding to what you transmit. When you broadcast the frequency of fear, you receive scarcity. When you radiate gratitude, you receive flow. So the question I ask you to answer right now is this: what frequency are you broadcasting each day? Are you transmitting calm assurance and trust, or are you allowing anxiety to rule your heart? Pause for a moment and feel, for the answer to that question matters far more than any number on your financial statement. Money behaves like electricity. It needs a conductor. Your feelings and beliefs are that conduit. A wire corroded with doubt and complaint will break the circuit. A wire made clean and bright with gratitude and belief will allow the current to pour through. Someone once asked why their prayers for money had gone unanswered. It was because their prayers carried the vibration of lack. They said, "I want more." But inwardly they vibrated with need, and the subconscious hears only the vibration, not the words. So if you wish to change the outcome, you must first change the vibration. If you want your account to reflect abundance, you must first plant the seed of abundance in your mind. To begin, practice this simple yet powerful exercise. Each night before sleep, close your eyes and imagine a stream of golden light entering through the crown of your head, flowing down your spine, radiating throughout your entire body. See that light transforming into currency, into incoming transfers, into signed contracts, into open opportunities. As you visualize, silently affirm, I vibrate at the frequency of abundance. All good things belong to me by divine law. Do this for 21 consecutive nights. Do not doubt. Simply surrender to the feeling as though it were already real. You will begin to notice subtle shifts, a surprising offer, an unexpected gift, a reduced expense. These are not coincidences. They are the current beginning to respond to your new frequency. You see, money has no will of its own. It plays no favorites. It simply follows the music you conduct within, and when you change the melody, the entire financial symphony outside you changes as well. So from today, pay closer attention. Do not ask where the money is. Ask instead, what is the frequency I am broadcasting? And I thank you for showing up, for listening, for pausing in this sacred moment to face the truth of your inner vibration. For it is this conscious presence that signals one undeniable thing. You are ready to open the door to a new flow. The subconscious mind, the generator of wealth, the inner source of vibration. It receives emotional impressions and manifests circumstances. And the bedtime affirmation opens a channel. The subconscious mind is a generator that never ceases to operate. It works while you are awake and continues, even as you sleep. It does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. It simply receives the emotional impressions you plant within it. A fleeting thought carries no power to shape reality, but a thought that is repeated with deep emotion becomes a seed. It sinks into the subconscious, takes root, and materializes as external circumstance. This is why some people constantly complain that no matter how much they do, it is never enough, and life continuously brings them scenarios of lack. What they fail to realize is that each time they repeat such words, they are charging the invisible generator, powering it with the exact frequency of poverty. The subconscious does not argue. It does not reject. It does not choose. It only agrees and produces results based on what you deposit into it. If you sow fear, you reap adversity. If you sow trust, you reap abundance. It is like the soil of the earth. It does not care whether you plant wheat or weeds. It simply makes the seed grow. The issue is never with the field, but with the one sowing. If you wish to change the harvest, you must change the seed of thought. Take, for example, a businessman who once faced bankruptcy. He constantly repeated within himself the fear, I'm going to lose everything. That fear became a silent command, and true to his vibration, everything gradually slipped away. When guided, he replaced that inner refrain with a new affirmation. Money is a symbol of goodness. I welcome it with joy and share it in gratitude. Within a few short weeks, new opportunities emerged. He was invited into a project, and his finances quickly recovered. The shift did not come from the outside, it came from an inner adjustment. When a new impression was planted, the subconscious generator changed its frequency, and the external world responded accordingly. Every individual carries the same power. Each night before sleep, as the conscious mind begins to quiet, the gateway to the subconscious opens wide. This is the sacred hour in which you can plant the finest seeds. If you allow worries and doubts to dominate your thoughts in that moment, they will slip into the subconscious and birth corresponding conditions. But if you speak with genuine emotion and belief, The subconscious will receive those affirmations and manifest them into lived experience. Imagine that just before sleep, you silently repeat in stillness, I am a channel for the flow of wealth. I open my heart to all sources of supply. I dwell in the abundance of the universe. When these words are planted in the silence of the mind, they sink deeper than any words spoken in moments of stress or noise. And in the days that follow, you will begin to witness situations, opportunities, and people that reflect this new inner belief. The subconscious does not need to be forced. It does not need to be begged. It only requires your consistency. Like tuning a musical instrument once the strings are adjusted, harmony follows. When your beliefs are aligned, your financial condition aligns with them. This is the unwavering precision of spiritual law. The subconscious is a vast reservoir of energy, but it awaits instruction from your conscious mind. If you let go, it will run on old habits, but if you direct it, it will become the engine of a completely new life. Remember, no external circumstance can impose your destiny. Only the impressions you nurture in your subconscious carry that authority. So from today forward, guard the gate of your mind, be discerning about what you allow to enter, and most of all, take full advantage of the moments before sleep to open the channel. When you drop a new seed into that sacred space, you give your subconscious a creative command, and this generator of wealth will begin to operate, drawing into your life results that match the vibration you have chosen, programming the flow through gratitude. Gratitude is the biological switch and spiritual current. Every dollar carries an emotional imprint, and the nightly blessing log keeps the current alive. Gratitude is the invisible switch that connects you to the spiritual current of prosperity. It is not merely a moral virtue, but a powerful vibrational force capable of opening channels, aligning frequencies, and amplifying all flows. Every time you feel genuine gratitude, your body shifts, your heartbeat, your breath, and your nervous system synchronize with the frequency of receiving, and in that state, money and all forms of supply begin flowing toward you like a river finding its open path. Every dollar that passes through your hands carries an emotional imprint. If you hold it with worry, it records the signal of contraction. If you spend it with complaint, it absorbs the vibration of loss. But if you receive and release it in gratitude, that dollar becomes a seed charged with a current of goodness, and it will return to you multiplied many times over. Many ask why they work so hard and yet remain in lack. The secret does not lie in the number of hours labored, but in the emotional frequency infused into every action. The absence of gratitude is like unplugging the current, while gratitude is the switch that powers the flow continuously. This is why a specific practice is needed. I call it the blessing log, a nightly journal of blessings. Each evening before sleep, open your notebook and write down 3 financial blessings from your day, no matter how small they may seem. It could be an unexpected amount of money, a free meal, a reduced bill, or simply the fact that you were able to pay your utilities. After writing them down, read them aloud with sincerity. Thank the universe for the circulation that is already taking place. This practice is not superstition. It is a mechanism of reprogramming. For when you focus on what you already have, you are broadcasting the signal, I am being provided for, and the universe responds by expanding the provision. After a few weeks, you will notice the atmosphere around your finances become lighter, cleaner, and new opportunities will begin to surface. Remember, money does not need lofty promises. It simply needs the proper vibrational environment in which to flow. When you live in gratitude, you create that environment Perhaps you wonder, if I'm drowning in debt, what could I possibly be grateful for? The answer is begin with anything that still remains. A small bill in your wallet, an item you're currently using, even the debt itself, because it signifies that someone trusted you enough to lend. When you shift your perception from complaint to gratitude, you have turned the key that opens the flow. This is the law of natural attraction. No one escapes it. I want to ask you something right now. Could you name 3 financial blessings you are grateful for? Pause, reflect, and try listing them in your mind. If you are ready to practice this, if you understand the power of gratitude as the master switch of prosperity, then leave a comment saying, I'm ready to change, or simply type 1. So I know you are here and walking this journey with me. I thank you for your presence, because your very presence is living proof that one shift in vibration is enough to change the entire flow. And as you continue this practice, you will begin to see clearly every word written in your gratitude journal is not merely ink on a page. It is a living circuit, night after night, igniting the path through which money and blessings flow into your life, replacing burnt fuses. Guilt, fear, and resentment disrupt the current. Heavy emotions break the circuit. The fuse box technique restores flow through forgiveness, trust, and letting go. There are moments when you feel like you've done everything right. You have filmed, you've prayed, you've practiced gratitude, yet the flow remains blocked. Money does not arrive, opportunities stall, and your faith begins to falter. The issue is not with the law, it lies within the circuit. Just as an entire electrical system can fail because of a single burnt fuse, your spiritual financial system can be disrupted by unresolved heavy emotions. Guilt, fear, and resentment are the 3 most common fuses that cause the entire circuit to shut down. Every time you repeat in your mind that you are not worthy, you generate a reverse current. It is like sending a direct command to the subconscious to halt the flow. Guilt never brings redemption. It simply recreates scarcity as a form of self-punishment. When you hold on to guilt, you do not allow yourself to receive, and the universe responds accordingly. Fear is no less dangerous. Fear of loss, fear of judgment, fear that you are not capable of sustaining what you've received. Every fear is a knot that causes the flow to shrink. The more you worry about holding on, the faster the current dries up. And resentment, it is the most corrosive of all. When you envy another's success, you unknowingly send a signal that rejects abundance. You cannot attract what you secretly resent. Instead of opening the circuit, resentment burns the fuse and sends the energy spiraling backward, burning you in the process. To restore the flow, you need a simple yet powerful technique. Imagine in your mind an electrical fuse box. Each fuse represents a dominant emotion. Now observe the panel. You'll see brightly lit fuses. Those are faith, gratitude, confidence. But you'll also see burned out fuses, guilt, fear, resentment. Now visualize yourself reaching into the box and gently removing each faulty fuse. As you remove a guilt, whisper inwardly, the past no longer has power over me. All mistakes dissolve in the light of infinite wisdom. As you remove a fear, affirm, I live in a safe universe. All things that come to me uplift and strengthen me. As you remove a resentment, declare, I release this person, I bless them with prosperity, and I allow myself to prosper too. Because once removed, replace them with new, radiant, sturdy fuses named forgiveness, trust, and letting go. Forgiveness is not about approving of what was wrong. It is the decision to stop feeding energy into that memory. It's like cutting the electricity to a broken device so the rest of the system no longer drains from it. Trust is the fuse that replaces fear. When you trust that the universe is abundant, you stop worrying about losing, and the current naturally returns. Letting go is the fuse that replaces resentment. When you let go, the energy trapped in bitterness is released, and a new stream opens instantly. There are those who have practiced this technique for 7 consecutive nights each evening, visualizing the removal of broken fuses and replacing them with light. They discovered that after just 1 week, their emotional state shifted, their bodies felt lighter, and then financial breakthroughs began to occur. A negotiated debt, a new opportunity, an unexpected act of support. These are not miracles, they are simply the current returning. Once the fuse has been replaced, remember, the subconscious is like a loyal electrical grid. It does not know how to protect itself from broken fuses. It only runs according to the circuit you allow to remain. That is why it is your responsibility to inspect it regularly. Each day, ask yourself, what emotion is burning out my fuse today? If it is guilt, forgive. If it is fear, trust. If it is resentment, let go. Don't wait until the system collapses. Keep the current clean and intact. Money, like light, does not wait. It flows only where the pathway is open. And you are the keeper of the fuse box. When the fuses are changed, the current will run without interruption. And you will see no wall can block the energy of abundance once the soul has been freed from the weight of the past. The circuit of giving and receiving. True wealth is circulation, not accumulation. Conscious giving is seed, sowing, and giving from abundance sparks multiplication. Wealth is never about accumulation, it is about circulation. A body of water that is dammed becomes stagnant, while a river that flows remains fresh and abundant. Money is no different. It nourishes life only when it is allowed to move, given and returned. When you cling tightly to it, you unknowingly disrupt the law of circulation, and the flow begins to weaken. But when you let it move in trust and joy, it becomes part of an endless, life-giving current. The body is sustained because blood flows. The earth is green because water circulates. The universe expands because energy never ceases to move. At its deepest level, money is part of the same law. Every time you give from a vibration of sufficiency, you do not lose. You are sowing a seed, and like every seed, it will return to you multiplied according to the exact frequency you released. Some believe they must be wealthy before they can give, but this is a misunderstanding. You do not give because you are wealthy. You become wealthy because you give when you are willing to share a portion of your income toward a worthy cause, to someone in need, or into a project that creates good. You are sending a signal to the subconscious. I live in abundance, and the subconscious immediately adjusts your frequency to bring more experiences that match that truth. Conscious giving is like a sacred act of sowing. A handful of seeds cast into the earth does not disappear. It becomes a field. A sum of money given in faith does not leave you. It opens a new cycle of return. The farmer knows this law well. He does not fear letting the seed fall to the soil. He knows harvest is inevitable. So too does the one who understands spiritual law. They give not from guilt or pressure, but from the certainty that the flow is faithful. What matters is not the amount, but the frequency of the heart. A small gift given with faith and love carries greater vibrational power than a large amount given with reluctance or fear. Try this practice. Every time you receive income, set aside a portion to give. Call it your seed portion. Before releasing it, say silently in your heart, I sow this seed into the flow of life. it shall return to me in multiplied form. In doing this, you stop being a clinger. You become a participant in the divine circulation. This is the meaning of the phrase, this is the power of voice within, not just a voice you hear, but a space you return to. It is the voice within reminding you that when you give from the right vibration, you are returning to the space of abundance that has always been yours. There was once a businessman who complained that his work was stagnant despite tireless effort. Upon being guided, he began setting aside a small portion each week, sometimes just the price of a cup of coffee, to help someone else. Within months, his business flourished, orders increased, and he realized the act of giving had reopened the circuit, because giving is never a loss. It is the breath of the universe flowing through your life. Look at nature. The sun gives light, the earth gives fruit, the ocean gives vapor, and humans inhale and exhale. Without giving, there is no life. Hoarding leads to contraction. Circulation brings forth expansion. So, when you hesitate to give, remember, you are holding back your own breath. True wealth is not in the amount you keep, but in the flow you engage. Your bank account may be full, but if there is no circulation, it is merely a cold storage. In contrast, even if your balance is modest, but you are participating in the rhythm of giving and receiving, your life will be nourished by opportunities and unexpected blessings. Every act of giving is a declaration to the universe. I have, and the law of circulation answers, to the one who has, more shall be given. Quote. When you understand this, you no longer fear lack, because you know the law of giving and receiving is unfailing. From this day on, look at every coin that leaves your hand as a seed falling onto fertile soil. Don't ask, how much do I have left? Ask instead, what harvest will this seed grow into? Give with an open heart, with the unshakable faith that the flow always multiplies, and you will see wealth will no longer be a goal to chase, but the natural rhythm of a life harmonized with spiritual law, spiritual therapy for financial flow. Money is like water. It must move. 3 practices to open the invisible valves: mental check, visualization, rhythmic breathing, and gentle self-hypnosis. Money, like water, becomes stagnant when left still for too long. It grows heavy, stale, and lifeless. But when it flows moving through clean channels, it becomes clear, refreshing, and life-giving. Your financial well-being is the same. It must be kept in motion, continuously circulating. To achieve this, you cannot rely on your job or the market alone. You must turn to spiritual therapies that unlock the invisible valves within. When the mind is purified and the subconscious is properly programmed, the flow of money resumes naturally. Here are 3 simple yet powerful practices you can begin today. The first is the mental check visualization. Each night before sleep, visualize a check written out to you with your name, the exact amount you desire, and signed by infinite intelligence. Do not treat this as idle imagination. Feel it as though it already belongs to you. See the number clearly, touch it in your mind's eye, read your name aloud, whisper, I receive this by divine right, and I shall use it with gratitude. When repeated over many days, this practice imprints the image into your subconscious, and the subconscious, as faithful as soil, receiving seed, will find a way to arrange circumstances so that what you've planted becomes your reality. This is not fantasy. It is the activation of a spiritual law that has existed for ages. The second practice is rhythmic breathing. Most people breathe in shallow, unctuous rhythms, and just as their breath is disrupted, so is their financial flow erratic and unstable. Set aside a few minutes each morning. Sit upright, close your eyes softly, and breathe in slowly for a count of 4. Hold for 2 counts. Exhale gently for 6. As you inhale, think, I receive. As you exhale, think, I give. Repeat for 5 minutes. You'll notice your body relax, your mind expand, and your trust return. The breath is the bridge between body and soul, and a perfect reflection of the law of giving and receiving. When you learn to breathe deeply and rhythmically, you also learn to live within the uninterrupted circulation of the universe. The third practice is gentle self-hypnosis. Just before drifting into sleep, when your conscious mind begins to quiet and the gate of the subconscious opens wide, lie still, relax every muscle, and repeat a simple affirmation. Say, I am a magnet for divine wealth. I receive more than I need every day. Everything I give returns multiplied. Okay. You don't need to force belief. Simply let the words fall into your subconscious like seeds into fertile soil. When practiced consistently, the subconscious will gradually adjust its frequency and your financial flow will begin to widen effortlessly. Remember, the subconscious never sleeps. It is always working to convert what you sow into tangible experience. These 3 practices, if maintained, are like turning the valve on a pipe to allow the water to surge more powerfully. You do not need to pull the river toward you. You only need to open the channel, and the river will find its way. Don't believe you must fight for prosperity. The truth is, you only need to align with it. When you visualize the check, you give the subconscious a clear image. When you breathe rhythmically, you train your body and mind in natural flow. When you affirm in gentle hypnosis, you deliver a direct command to the subconscious to operate in harmony with abundance. Together, these 3 tools create a seamless stream of financial well-being, uninterrupted, harmonious, and alive. Treat these as your daily spiritual hygiene. Just as you brush your teeth to keep your mouth clean, you must also cleanse and calibrate your mind to keep your financial stream pure. Do not wait for a miracle. Remember, the miracle is consistency. Each day you visualize, each day you breathe, each day you affirm, you are turning the valve, and the flow will gradually grow stronger and clearer. Then you will realize money was never far. It was simply waiting for you to open the door within. Electromagnetic visualization. The invisible image gives birth to form. Visualize in detail with emotion. Hold for 10 minutes in the morning. Ignite the solar plexus and release with certainty. Every visible form in your life begins with an invisible image in your mind. The house you live in was once just an idea on a blueprint. The clothes you wear were once sketches in someone's imagination. Even the money you hold in your hand first existed as a thought in someone's mind. The invisible image is the prototype, and the universe performs one sacred task to turn that prototype into form. Therefore, if you wish to transform your financial reality, it is not enough to change your actions. You must first change the inner image you hold. Electromagnetic visualization is the practice of converting thought into current, and when that current is charged with repeated emotion, it generates a magnetic field. That magnetic field then draws to you the people, circumstances, and opportunities that match it. This is not daydreaming. It is a spiritual technology that has been practiced for thousands of years. Great scientists, artists, and inventors have all admitted to visualizing their results in vivid detail before those results ever became real. You can do the same with your finances. Set aside 10 minutes every morning when your mind is still quiet and undistracted by the pace of the day. Sit in silence, close your eyes, relax your breathing, and begin to visualize the financial scene you desire. Don't just say, I want to be wealthy. Create a specific scenario. See yourself signing a contract, receiving a check, opening your phone to view an increasing balance. Make the image so vivid that you can feel the color of the room, the scent in the air, the texture of paper beneath your fingers, the smile on your face. The more detailed, the more powerful, but image alone is not enough. Emotion is the current that lights up the vision. Let yourself feel joy, relief, and excitement as if it is happening right now, not in the future, not as a hope, but as a present truth. When emotion fuses with imagery, you have generated current, and when that current is repeated daily, it builds a magnetic field. That field becomes an invisible invitation sent out to the universe, summoning all that aligns with it to begin moving toward you. A vital part of this practice is the solar plexus located just beneath the sternum. It is the emotional broadcasting center of your body. When the image is clear and the emotion is strong, imagine a gentle flame igniting from that point, spreading warmth throughout your body. That warmth is the sign that you've lit the fire of your visualization. That is the moment the energy field is activated. You don't need to force it. 10 minutes is enough. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back. If thoughts of doubt arise, such as this isn't real, simply affirm, it is already real on the level of vibration. I am only calling it into form. And when the session ends, the most important step is to let it go. Do not cling to the outcome. Do not ask when it will arrive. Simply breathe out and say within, I know this is already true. It will appear at the right time. The faith that releases is the proof of your certainty. The farmer does not sit and watch the soil daily, waiting for the seed to sprout as sows, then walks away in trust that the harvest will come. You must do the same. Sow your inner image into the subconscious, then release it, allowing the law of spirit to perform its work. When you maintain this habit for 30 consecutive days, you will begin to notice strange and beautiful synchronicities. An unexpected phone call, a new opportunity, a canceled debt, a contract from an unforeseen source. These are not coincidences. They are the magnetic field you've generated, pulling matching realities toward you. The power of electromagnetic visualization does not lie in intense striving, but in gentle consistency each morning that you redraw the image of abundance in your mind, attach it to emotion, and light the flame at your solar plexus. You are broadcasting a precise, invisible signal, and the universe, being the perfect mirror, will reflect that signal back to you in physical form. Money does not come only from your labor. It comes from the vibrational field you create. When you learn this form of visualization, you hold in your hands a tool to restructure reality. You are no longer a passive observer, but a conscious creator. And your financial life will begin to mirror the image you faithfully nurture within. Magnetizing wealth through words. Speech organizes matter. And affirmations, spoken with belief, emit high voltage energy to shape reality. Words are not mere sounds escaping the mouth. They are currents of electricity capable of reshaping the invisible substance of the universe into visible form. Every sentence you speak is a command, a signal, a high voltage beam organizing the energy around you into shape. The ancients said, in the beginning was the Word, and that Word was the first movement in every act of creation. When you speak words of positivity with belief, you emit a high voltage current that opens channels for wealth to flow. But when you complain, deny, or spread worry, you are still issuing commands and the universe obeys faithfully without discerning whether those are commands you truly desire or not. This is why many people affirm abundance in prayer, yet spend the rest of the day repeating phrases like, money is hard to earn, everything's so expensive, I never seem to have enough. These everyday phrases are the disruptive charges that shatter the vibrational field they tried to build. The universe does not respond to fleeting wishes. It responds to the frequency you broadcast consistently through your words and emotions. So what you say daily holds more power than what you affirm occasionally. To magnetize wealth, you must learn to use words as sacred tools. First, practice affirming with clarity, certainty, and emotional resonance. When you say, I'm a channel for prosperity, feel the current flowing through you. When you say, money comes to me through perfect channels, envisioned or swinging open. When you say, everything I touch increases in value, imagine your hands glowing with golden light. Words only carry power when they are fused with belief and vivid imagery. If you repeat them mechanically, they are just hollow sounds. But when you speak with conviction, they become high-voltage currents that shape the magnetic field around you. One helpful method is to create a list of high-voltage affirmations and repeat them in the morning and at night. Say them as if they are eternal truths, not hopeful wishes. For example, I am in harmony with the infinite supply of the universe. Ho. I speak wealth, and it manifests in my life. Ho. My words are seeds, and I reap a golden harvest. Ho. The subconscious does not interpret hypotheticals or hopes. It only responds to clear, specific commands. In addition to purposeful affirmations, you must also guard your casual speech throughout the day. Every joke, every complaint, every criticism, these are also commands. If you say, I'm broke, you're engraving that phrase into your financial blueprint. If you say, people are only rich because they're lucky, you are silently closing the door of opportunity for yourself. That is why you must cultivate the habit of silence before speaking any negative word. If you cannot speak something constructive, choose silence, for silence preserves the field, while careless speech fractures it. Remember, the universe has no sense of humor. It does not understand sarcasm. It only reflects the energy carried within your words. One woman shared that she often joked, I'll probably never be rich. Though she faithfully affirmed every morning, her life remained stagnant. When she stopped those jokes completely and replaced them with strong, clear affirmations, her work began to flourish, new clients arrived, and her income rose. This proved what spiritual law has always taught. Everyday speech holds just as much power as prayer. Words are seeds. What you plant, you will harvest. Let your words become golden seeds, planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious, and you will witness a financial harvest beyond what you imagined. When you understand the creative power of words, you will speak less, but with more purpose. You will no longer waste energy on empty statements. Instead, you will speak as if each word is a beam of focused light, organizing reality into form. And one day, when you look back, you will see that your life is the direct result of the words you've spoken, the commands you gave to the universe, and the affirmations you lived with. Unwavering belief, the law of correspondence in business. Your outer balance sheet is the mirror of your inner emotional equilibrium. Use the nightly correspondence review to align emotion with financial goals. In business, people often look at financial reports, revenue, expenses, and profits to measure success or failure, but the deeper truth is that the numbers outside are merely a mirror reflecting your inner vibrational state. The balance sheet never lies. It reveals precisely the degree of harmony or imbalance within the one managing the business. The law of correspondence operates with absolute precision as within, so without, if your inner world is full of doubt, tension, and worry, the numbers will reflect decline, imbalance, and instability. If your inner world is filled with belief, vision, and calm confidence, the numbers will reflect growth, harmony, and progress. There is no such thing as luck in business. Only correspondence between inner vibration and external results. Solomon once taught that we must guard the heart above all else, for from it flows the wellspring of life. The heart here does not refer to the biological organ, but the emotional center of vibration. From this center arise decisions, actions, and ultimately outcomes. Therefore, to change business results, one must first change the inner emotional condition. One simple yet powerful way to do this is a nightly correspondence review each evening before sleep. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and replay the day as though you are watching a film. Recall the moments when you received money, spent it, signed contracts, interacted with clients or partners, but focus not on the actions. Focus on the emotions behind them. Were you feeling gratitude or anxiety, trust or doubt, joy or resistance? Be honest with yourself and observe those vibrations, then compare them with the financial outcome you desire. If you aim for growth, but your dominant emotion was tension, there is misalignment. If you want abundance, but feel constant lack, you have already found the cause. When you notice this mismatch, correct it in the mind. Reimagine the scene, but this time shift the emotion. If you were stressed when paying a bill, visualize it again and feel gratitude for being able to pay. If you doubted while signing a contract, replace it with confidence and certainty. This is not denial, it is rewriting the vibrational blueprint so that the subconscious records a new impression. When this is done consistently over time, the subconscious adjusts its field, and when the inner field changes, the outer numbers change as well. Always remember, the numbers are not the enemy. They are the messenger. They reveal how you are vibrating. Do not fear them. Listen to them. For each number is an echo of your inner state. And this is where you must remember, this is the power of voice within, not just a voice you hear, but a space you return to. Your inner world is not a fleeting whisper. It is the space to recalibrate and realign. From this space, the numbers will begin to match. One entrepreneur once said his business account was constantly negative. No matter what he tried externally, when he began the nightly review, he realized he was always anxious about money and doubted his ability to succeed. He started rewriting each mental scene, replacing fear with faith. After 3 months, his business began to grow. New clients came and revenue increased. He said it was not the business that changed, it was he who changed, and the business simply reflected it. This is the power of the law of correspondence. So instead of constantly looking for external fixes, take time each night to reflect inwardly. Business is not only a game of strategy and markets, it is a game of vibration and belief. And when you master your inner state, the balance sheet becomes a melody that harmonizes perfectly with the frequency you have chosen, sowing money with intention. Spending is not loss, but planting. Consciously noting before you pay and visualizing the second destination of the money to open the channel of return. One of the greatest illusions that keeps people in scarcity is the belief that spending means losing every time a bill is paid, every purchase made or debt settled. Many sigh with regret, as if the money has left them forever. That very emotion imprints instantly into the subconscious and becomes a command that the flow is ending. But the truth is that nothing is ever lost. Every expense is a moment of sowing. A farmer does not grieve when he casts seeds into the soil because he knows it is the beginning of the harvest. Money is the same. It does not vanish when it leaves your hand. It enters a new cycle to return, multiplied and enriched, in harmony with the frequency you send it with. The secret lies in how you sow. If you sow in fear, you receive contraction. If you sow in gratitude and purpose, you receive multiplication. To live in alignment with this law, you must turn every spending act into a conscious one. A simple method is to make a mental note of the purpose before you spend. Pause for a few seconds before transferring money or handing it over and write, even just in your mind, a line of spiritual intention. For example, this money is for warming my home. This amount is for sustaining my health. This expense is to support the growth of my work. When you do this, you shift the vibration of the act from passive to purposeful, from anxious to empowered. The money is no longer something that leaves you, but a seed carrying your blessing. A deeper practice is to visualize the second destination of the money when you hand it to a vendor. Picture that person using it to pay for their child's education or to buy food for their family. When you leave a tip, imagine the server using that money to care for a parent or do something kind for someone else. By seeing the next leg of the money's journey, you recognize that you are part of a vast circulating network where value flows and returns through new pathways. This practice not only opens the channel of return, but also expands your heart. You will no longer feel a sense of loss when spending, but a sense of planting and participating in the shared flow of prosperity. Money is living energy, and it follows the command of emotion. When you spend with worry, you program it to leave and rarely return. When you spend with trust and gratitude, you program it to come back in multiplied form. This is a simple principle, yet few actually apply it. One man shared that he used to feel fear every time he paid a bill. He would watch the number decrease and feel only anxiety about depletion. When he learned the practice of intentional notes and second destination visualization, he began to shift. Each time he paid the electricity bill, he wrote in a small notebook, "Thank you for the light that brightens my home." Every time he paid rent, he silently said, "Thank you for the shelter that protects my family." As a result, within 6 months, his work expanded, income increased steadily, and he was surprised to see that money returned more abundantly and easily because he no longer saw spending as loss, but as planting. Understand this clearly. It is not the amount you spend that determines your abundance, but the vibration you send with it. A small amount spent with fullness can open the door to great income. A large amount spent in worry can block the flow and leave you feeling empty. Therefore, from today, turn each payment into a sacred act. Write a mental or physical note of purpose and visualize that money continuing its journey to bring value. When you develop this habit, you will feel a subtle yet powerful shift. Fear dissolves, replaced by the joy of participating in the law of sowing. And when joy becomes your natural state, the current of return will flow back to you, multiplied, through channels you could never predict. That is the precision of spiritual law, where there is no loss, only circulation, and the harvest of what has been sown, creative service and quantum multiplication. All lasting wealth arises from usefulness. Ask yourself each day how you serve and how you grow to activate the field of resonance. Every form of sustainable wealth begins from a principle that is simple yet profound, and that principle is usefulness Money is merely the outer reflection of the value you bring to life, and that value is measured by the degree to which you serve and evolve. When you center your focus on making other people's lives better, the universe responds by multiplying what you have. This is the essence of creative service and quantum multiplication. You are not rewarded simply for existing. You are rewarded for transmitting energy, ideas, solutions, products, or services that genuinely bring benefit. And the degree to which you are rewarded corresponds to the degree to which you continuously upgrade yourself in order to serve at a higher level. The craftsman who works with his hands may earn a certain amount, but when he learns new skills and begins to create something original, his income shifts. The entrepreneur may sell a product, but when that product becomes an experience, they create a resonant field, and the value multiplies. This is not coincidence. It is the response of a quantum law, where the vibrational energy of sincere service is magnified and echoed back. The key to sustaining the flow of prosperity does not lie in the question, how do I make money? But in two questions you must ask yourself every day. First, how did I serve today? Second, how did I grow today? When you answer truthfully, you will clearly understand why you are where you are, and you will also see the path to your next level. If you serve little and grow little, your income will remain stagnant. If you expand your service and simultaneously expand yourself, income will naturally multiply. This is the unchanging law of correspondence. One therapist practiced this principle by asking himself every morning before seeing patients, how can I listen more deeply today? What can I learn from them to become a better version of myself? Within just a few months, not only did the number of his clients double, but his inner joy also flourished, because he felt he was living in a continuous flow of giving and receiving. Service was no longer a burden. It became an energy field, and money was merely a side effect reflecting that resonance. Have you ever asked yourself whom you truly served today, and in what specific way you truly developed? If not, stop and reflect now, because the answer you find is painting your financial picture. I want to ask you, what value did you bring to someone today? And how did you make progress within yourself? Hold a clear answer in your mind, because that is the seed that will sprout into tomorrow's opportunity. And if you are here now, listening to every word, I want to thank you, because your presence proves that you are ready to step into a new level of service and development. Remember, the universe never forgets a single useful act. Every sincere effort, no matter how small, leaves a vibrational imprint in the quantum field. And that field always multiplies, expands, and returns to you in unexpected forms. When you sow service with love and trust, the harvest is inevitable. And when you simultaneously sow growth, you double that harvest. This is the ever-ascending spiral of a truly prosperous life, transforming crisis into flow. Every crisis holds the seed of expansion. Stabilize your frequency through breath, reaffirmation, and immediate inspired action to restore the current crisis, whether in the form of finances, career, or relationships, is never merely an ending. It always contains within it a seed of expansion. What appears to be collapse is often only a restructuring, a redirection to open up a new current at a higher level. The problem is that people tend to view crisis through the lens of fear, reacting with anxiety, complaint, and paralysis. It is these reactions that collapse the internal frequency and block the flow. If you understand spiritual law, you will see that crisis is not your enemy, but a signal that the old system is ready to be upgraded. To transform a crisis into flow, you need a clear protocol. a sequence of internal actions that stabilize vibration and reactivate circulation. The first step is to calm the heart through breath. When bad news hits, when the account goes negative, when a contract falls through, the instinctive reaction is contraction, rapid heartbeat, and shallow breathing. In that state, all decisions become misaligned. Therefore, the most important thing is to place your hand on your chest. Close your eyes. Inhale for 4 counts. Hold for 2 counts. Then exhale for 6 counts. Repeat for 3 minutes. This simple practice can reset the electromagnetic rhythm of the heart, reopen the solar plexus, and pull the mind out of panic. When the heart is quiet, your vibrational field instantly changes. The second step is reaffirmation. In crisis, the mind repeats destructive questions, like, why is this happening? I have lost everything. There is no way out. These thoughts are destructive commands sent straight into the subconscious. The only way to break the spiral is to interrupt it with powerful affirmations. Immediately repeat statements like, the flow has not ended. It is only changing direction. I am greater than this circumstance. I open to new solutions. These are not meant to deny reality, but to reset vibration. The subconscious does not distinguish between true or false. It only records the strongest impression. When you plant a confident affirmation, you are sowing a new seed for the recovery of flow. The third step is immediate inspired action. Crisis often turns people into frozen victims, waiting for luck to save them. But spiritual law does not operate through stillness. It operates through movement. Once the breath is calm and the affirmation is planted, you must act, even if just a small step, but based on intuitive clarity. It may be a phone call, an email, a decisive choice, or a bold move. Inspired action is not hasty panic. It is the guidance arising from the deeper layers of the subconscious. Once it has been reassured and redirected, these small actions are the first valve, the starting point for reactivating flow and allowing new energy to enter. When these 3 steps work together, crisis rapidly transforms into opportunity. A businessman who had gone bankrupt practiced this protocol every time despair crept in. He breathed until his heart was calm, repeated the affirmation, the flow never stops, and then immediately wrote down 3 specific actions he could take that day. Within a few months, he found a new partner and rebuilt his business, this time on firmer ground. That outcome did not come from luck. It came from knowing how to maintain high frequency. Even in the midst of collapse, crisis does not stop the flow. Negative reaction does. When you learn how to calm your heart, reaffirm your direction, and take inspired action, you will discover that every crisis is just a disguised doorway, opening to a stronger, fresher, and deeper flow. This is the art of turning adversity into advantage, and the proof of the truth that your inner frequency is the origin of every outer result. The mystical dialogue with your checkbook begins here, for your bank account is a living mirror of your value consciousness. Every number, every transaction is not merely an empty figure, but a reflection of your inner state. Your financial records are not just repositories of money, they are spiritual maps, where the vibrations of your belief, respect, and gratitude are fully displayed. When you look at a number, do not see it as just a number, but as the visible form of the energy you have projected into the universe, the energy sent through your thoughts, beliefs, and actions. This is the sacred moment to engage in mystical dialogue with your checkbook. A simple yet profound practice where you commune with the very current of life, of which money is only the tangible expression. Begin by looking at your balance. Take a deep breath and feel that each dollar is not merely physical currency, but a response to your energetic signature. In this awareness, whisper or mentally note that each figure holds meaning. If it is an expense, assign to it a spiritual value, such as generosity, contribution, or the power to create joy for others. If it is income, assign to it the energy of gratitude, pride in your stewardship, or creative capability. In doing so, you amplify the frequency of reverence, not only inviting material returns, but also elevating your self-respect in your inner system. This is a spiritual practice where each number becomes a message, a reflection, a mirror of your vibrations. Each evening, when you open your checkbook or banking app, spend a few minutes in dialogue with your figures, and you will witness a subtle yet powerful transformation. The sense of lack will dissolve, replaced by a profound connection, gratitude, and confidence. When you speak to your account, telling it that every dollar is an opportunity, a vibration, a joy sent and received, you set a coherent frequency for the flow of wealth. Imagine each number as a point of light in your energy field, and with every word of thanks, you ignite that light, allowing spiritual electricity to flow more strongly. Write down affirmations, spiritual meanings, or gratitude phrases for each figure. Speak them, think them, or record them. This is not superstition, but a conscious alignment with the energy behind money. It is the practice of transforming your account into an ally, your numbers into spiritual partners, and your financial management into a sacred ritual. Each time you interact with your account, affirm silently, "This stream of energy responds precisely to my state of consciousness. When I honor it, it multiplies. When I give, it returns in greater measure. When I assign meaning and gratitude, I create a field of reverence where money becomes not just matter, but a spiritual message." Here lies your true power. Wealth does not reside in balance or spending, but in how you engage, perceive, and assign meaning. When you realize this, each encounter with your checkbook becomes a ritual, a moment of connection with universal energy, an opportunity to reaffirm that you are the master of the current. This is the power of voice within, not just a voice you hear, but a space you return to. In that space, you do not merely review amounts, you review belief, gratitude, creativity, and spiritual character. Every transaction becomes a story, every balance a reflection, and every experience with money a lesson in consciousness, energy, and frequency. When you practice the mystical dialogue with your checkbook, you realize that money cannot run out if the inner source within you remains whole. Every number, every expense, every inflow or outflow becomes a living message, an opportunity to reinforce your completeness, expand your frequency, and double your circulation. Imagine now that every time you pay, every time you receive, you assign a higher meaning service, generosity, gratitude, and reverence. As you repeat this practice, your account is no longer a cold table of figures, but a living mirror of your value consciousness, where the flow of money merges with the stream of spiritual energy. Gradually, you will witness a transformation. Money is no longer pressure, no longer anxiety, no longer fear. It becomes an ally, a tool, a mirror that teaches you how to command the energy of life. Each transaction, each number, each flow bears witness to your internal frequency, to the belief you sow, to the respect and gratitude you nurture. As you do this daily, you recalibrate a spiritual electromagnetic chain, open an invisible valve, and the energy of abundance flows in a rhythm that is harmonious and unwavering. This is the true power of spiritual wealth, where your account becomes a map, your numbers become partners, and you become the orchestrator of the current, the sower of vibration, and the receiver of fullness. Conscious prosperity is not measured by your balance or possessions, but by the continuity of energy, a spiritual current that transcends material limits. Every asset, every accumulation, when infused with awareness and intention, becomes a signature of wholeness, a vibration you have imprinted upon the world. True wealth does not end with matter. It is the transmission of frequency, a ripple effect that touches everyone it encounters, an echo of belief and creativity. When you envision legacy, imagine it as a pure energy stream, continuously expanding, reaching other souls, radiating values of gratitude, generosity, and the unwavering belief that abundance is not a limit but a power. Leaving a legacy letter is not merely a legal act. It is a spiritual ritual in which you embed meaning, energy, and seeds for future generations. Every message, every instruction, every value you wish to pass on becomes an amplified vibration, an extension of your personal energy, transforming material wealth into a bridge to collective consciousness. Conscious giving is another powerful practice. When you donate your assets, you are not simply giving away material things. You are giving belief. You are transmitting a frequency of prosperity and creative energy. Every gift becomes a quantum multiplication, doubling your energy flow, not only in the physical space, but in the spiritual dimension where your seeds are being sown. Community projects, from educational support to healthcare initiatives to economic development programs, are the living extensions of your personal legacy. When you invest your talent, your time, and your resources into the collective, you are not only creating external value, but also reinforcing your internal energetic field, strengthening your prosperity frequency, and turning every action into part of a continuous flow. Imagine each project, each gift, each legacy letter as a shining star in your energy field, a point of light reflecting your frequency of belief, respect, and gratitude. When you do this consciously, you will realize that prosperity does not end with you, but flows through you in a continuous process of giving and receiving, where personal energy merges with collective energy, forming an unbroken chain, a river of abundance that never ceases. Every decision about legacy, every act of giving, every community effort is not just an external gesture, but a method of restoring and strengthening the inner current. When you assign spiritual meaning to every dollar, every asset, you transform wealth into a living message, a manifestation of belief and awareness. This is how true wealth becomes a state of being, no longer a goal to chase, but a presence to embody. Imagine that every donation you make, every project you contribute to, every message you leave behind is resonating with a greater energy field, where your frequency is multiplied exponentially. No action is too small. No value is wasted, because all of it becomes part of the invisible stream, connecting you to the community, to future generations, and to your deepest self. When legacy letters, conscious giving, and community projects are done with awareness, you establish an inner pattern, a stable frequency through which all financial behavior, all thoughts, and all intentions are attuned to a higher rhythm. This is how you become the true master of prosperity energy. You solve, you transmit, you reset, you amplify, and you receive in fullness every moment spent writing your legacy letter, every time you assign meaning to a gift, every time you envision a community project, you are strengthening not only your material assets, but the energetic field of your spirit. With consistent practice, you will witness something miraculous. The flow of prosperity becomes continuous, smooth, and natural, no longer interrupted by fear, scarcity, or doubt. True wealth, enduring wealth, is always a current, always a frequency, always energy sown and received without interruption and without limit. When you integrate legacy, giving, and community work into your life, you transform personal energy into a greater impact, a spiritual map through